What if you took the survival base building stress of Fallout Shelter, threw in deep narrative choices like Disco Elysium, and wrapped it all in a sci-fi setting with emotional stakes? That's The Alters. This game doesn't just ask you to survive, it asks you who you want to become while doing it. You play as Jan Dulski, the sole survivor of a space mission gone wrong. Stranded on a hostile alien planet, your only chance of survival lies in operating a massive land-crawling base and creating alternate versions of yourself, known as alters, to help manage life on this dangerous world. From the moment you step into Jan's shoes, you're met with tension. Radiation levels spike, the sun is literally deadly, and you're racing against time to get your mobile base up and running. It's not just about staying alive, it's about making peace with your past, understanding your choices, and using your alternate selves to carve out a path forward. The world feels grim, claustrophobic, and incredibly lonely, but it's also rich with emotion, mystery, and depth. So how does it actually play? Well, your base becomes the center of your survival. You'll need to manage power, repair systems, grow food, mine resources, and keep your crew of alters mentally stable. Think Fallout Shelter, but with more emotional depth and narrative weight. The gameplay starts with urgency. The first time you see the sun is coming timer, you feel real panic. That's intentional. But later, the game eases that pressure to give you room to explore and make decisions without constantly feeling like the clock is ticking. In fact, the developers changed the timer system during development after player feedback. They realized that too much pressure from the start made it hard for players to connect with the story or explore the world properly. Now, the first act gives you time to breathe, and it makes all the difference. Here's where the alters really shines, the alters themselves. You'll use a sci-fi material called rapidium to create these alternate versions of Jan. Each alter represents a version of Jan that made different life choices. One stood up to his abusive father and became a confident technician. Another may have become a botanist, miner, or even a doctor. Every alter brings a unique skill set to your survival, but also their own personality, trauma, and memories. They aren't robots. They think, talk, and feel. They'll have conversations with each other and with you, and you'll need to care for them, not just physically, but emotionally. You can assign tasks to your alters, like growing food, crafting tools, or working out in the field. They'll ask for your guidance, but they can mostly act on their own. That frees you up to explore, manage, and make bigger picture decisions. What really sets the alters apart is how it explores identity, regret, and human connection. These aren't generic clones. They're living, breathing people. Each one has something to say, and depending on how they interact with each other, their morale will rise or fall. Some dialogues are heartwarming. Others are downright tragic. The writers behind the game, Katarina Tibinka and Magda Gamrot, put tons of effort into crafting these interactions. Conversations between alters feel natural and sometimes even more impactful than your own dialogues. Not all alters will be available in a single playthrough. That means you'll need to choose carefully who you bring into your base. Are you aiming for survival, emotional closure, a unique perspective? Your decisions matter, and they shape the narrative. Survival here isn't just about food and fuel. You'll need to maintain the mental health of your team. That means making sure your alters feel useful, understood, and appreciated. Ignore their needs too long, and things can go south quickly. You also need to expand and maintain your base. Storage is limited, so managing resources becomes a constant challenge. You'll need materials from outposts, which means building and upgrading those outposts regularly. The environment outside the base is dangerous. The sun burns everything it touches, and radiation is a constant threat. Timing your expeditions and base movements is crucial. Let's talk about rapidium, the sci-fi material that makes everything possible. Rapidium lets you create life. Your first experiment? A sheep named Molly. It's adorable, but also terrifying. Because if you can create life, what else can you do? Soon after, you're using your memory scans, your life story, to generate alters. These aren't just based on science, they're based on emotion, choices, and trauma. It's like playing through a quantum drama, where every version of yourself is a what if, and each one helps you survive in a different way. Visually, The Alters has a dark sci-fi style that pulls you in. The planet feels cold, distant, and hostile. The mobile base is massive, metallic, and full of noise, creaking machinery, flickering lights, and warning sirens. You always feel on edge, and that's the point. Lighting plays a huge role too. The ominous glow of Rapidium, the red haze of the burning sun, it all builds a thick sense of tension and urgency. Even the smallest details, like the design of the pods or the character animations, help sell the idea that this world is not just alien, but unforgiving. Voice acting in the demo is solid. Jan feels human, exhausted but determined. The alters sound like real people with real personalities. Some are warm and comforting, while others are cold and distant. The sound design makes everything feel alive. From the hum of the bass to the beeping of the machinery, the audio keeps you grounded in Jan's isolated experience. The soundtrack is subtle but emotional. It swells in moments of reflection and pulls back when you're managing resources or exploring. Based on the demo, The Alters looks like it's going to be one of the most unique survival games of the year. The concept of exploring your own alternate lives through a survival sim is both emotionally powerful and mechanically satisfying. It gives you tools, but also choices. It makes you care, not just about staying alive, but about who you are and who you could have been. The demo lasts around 1 to 2 hours, and it leaves a lasting impression. By the time you create your first alter, you're hooked. Now, nothing is perfect, even in a promising demo. The pacing can feel slow at times, especially if you're used to faster survival games. Managing multiple characters and systems might overwhelm some players early on. The UI still feels like it needs polish. Navigating menus, assigning tasks, and checking status can get clunky. And finally, while the emotional storytelling is amazing, it might not be for everyone. If you're more into action-heavy survival experiences, The Alters leans more toward emotional weight and storytelling than quick thrills. So, based on the demo, is The Alters worth playing? Yes, if you enjoy narrative-driven survival with a twist. The mix of alternate realities, base building, and emotional storytelling gives it a fresh identity in the survival genre. It's not just about surviving, it's about understanding yourself, your regrets, and the people you could have been. The demo shows off a game that's thoughtful, well-designed, and full of potential. But be cautious. If you're looking for fast action or simple gameplay, this might feel a bit slow or heavy for you. Also, be prepared for an emotional ride. This game goes deep. That wraps up this review of the Alters demo. If you enjoy complex survival games with meaningful stories and emotional depth, this might be the next game to keep on your radar. Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more detailed reviews just like this. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the biggest threat isn't the world outside, it's the one inside your own mind.